Transmigrated as a disabled protagonist, how should I continue the script? Chapter 23, Mystery of Origins. Japan, Namimori Town. Early in the morning, a gentleman dressed like a baby sat by the window on the upper floor of a building, a small table with a cup of coffee in front of him. He wasn't drinking it, though. He was on a phone call, tilting his hat low, casting a shadow over his face. A green lizard lay hibernating atop his hat, its cold, reptilian eyes no longer carrying the usual cute demeanor, instead mirroring its master's mood. Alright, Futa has been captured, is that so? Rokudo Mukuro is heading to Yokohama. Finishing the conversation, Reborn placed the mini mobile phone on the table and lifted the coffee, taking a small sip. He murmured, yesterday, there was a sudden rainstorm. The world's top assassin was at a loss for words. Training disciples by making them run. Every Vangala boss throughout history has had 6 central family members known as guardians before taking their position. The guardians differ based on their personalities and elemental attributes. Currently, they have found the candidates for the Storm Guardian, Gokudera Hayato, the Rain Guardian, Yamamoto Takeshi, the Sun Guardian, Sasagawa Yohei, and the Cloud Guardian, Hibari Kyoya. All of them are students at Namimori Middle School and are closely connected with Sawada Tsunayoshi. Aside from a few exceptions, these people's ancestors all had ties to the Vangala Primo, with deep bloodline connections, naturally possessing the power of the dying wolf flame. Time was pressing, and the Vangala family urgently needed a Decimo leader. Among the Decimo families, they were still missing the hardest-to-find Mist Guardian, and the minimum requirement for the Mist Guardian was proficiency in illusions. Considering that Sawada Tsunayoshi was only 14 years old this year, for better communication, the age gap with the leader could not be too large. Reborn is a perfectionist. The Vangala family seeks the kind of top-tier talent from around the world, and there is only one illusionist of the right caliber who has caught his eye and is of the appropriate age. Italy's Rokudo Mukuro. His potential surpasses even Mamon's. He is neither greedy nor afraid of death, with exceptional talent. If he could be persuaded, perhaps the legendary illusion praised for being an uncatchable entity could be obtained. An illusion, huh? Reborn finished his coffee, stretched out his hand, and the lizard crawled onto his finger, beginning to transform. Without the sky to hold it, where would the mist have a place to survive? A large mallet appeared in his short, adorable fingers, aimed directly at the boy sleeping soundly on the bed. Wake up, Danmei Suna. Ow! The next second, a loud and piercing wail echoed through the second floor of the Sawada residence. While having breakfast, Sawada Tsunayoshi rubbed his aching head, half asleep, as he vaguely heard Reborn talking to his mom, sounding very much like the true head of the household. Mama, Suna's school will take a break before July. The school has arranged a field trip to Yokohama, so in a few days, we will be heading to Yokohama. Yokohama? Since when does school take a break early? Sawada Tsunayoshi used his big, confused, watery eyes, trying to soften the person talking. However, Reborn, in his childlike body and unyielding steel heart, coldly ignored him, focusing on the conversation with Sawada Nana. Sawada Nana expressed her concern, then suddenly raised a finger as if remembering something. I heard Yokohama is a bit chaotic, the neighbors said not to go there, right? Reborn, in a playful tone, replied, don't worry, Suna's dad is making money from oil drilling, and he's hired bodyguards. Sawada Nana laughed in agreement and went to check on her depressed-looking son. What's wrong, Suna-kun? Immediately, Reborn's death-piercing stares was aimed at Sawada Tsunayoshi. Sawada Tsunayoshi trembled and said, as long as school is dismissed first, I have no objections. What kind of joke is this? Resisting this Spartan demon baby's demands is worse than death. At the dining table, Lambo was still playing with Ipin, the two children easing the tense atmosphere. Reborn's expression softened, temporarily sparing the sullen-faced Sawada Tsunayoshi. Suddenly, Lambo, having been defeated by Ipin, tried to pull out a weapon. Reborn suddenly shouted, Lambo, didn't your family ever remind you? You must not use the 10-year bazooka on yourself or anyone around you. Lambo, still not having pulled out his pink bazooka, confusedly muttered, I think they did say something like that. He quickly tucked it back away. The assassin Ipin tilted her head, why can't Lambo use his weapon? Lambo, with a candy in his mouth, replied, Lambo-sama doesn't know, but they don't allow it at home. I heard it can kill people. After Sawada Nana went to the kitchen, Bianchi, known as Poison Scorpion, casually gathered dishes for Reborn and said nonchalantly, the Bovino family's 10-year bazooka has now become a sharp murder weapon. Reborn replied calmly, anyone hit by the 10-year bazooka will soon develop a large wound that neither bleeds nor hurts, but their body will be filled with toxins. They are almost certainly doomed, and those who are lucky enough to survive report feeling their heart racing, as if some danger from a temporal passage is approaching. Lambo didn't care at all about these big headaches and troubles of the adults, mumbling, I only used it once. When I met the people from 10 years later, they told me not to use this weapon again, unless it was to deal with an enemy. The incident happened a few months ago. This caused a huge stir within both the Vongala family and the Bovino family. The Vongala family, which controls the power of the Vongala rings along the time axis, holds a significant portion of the foundation of the world, the Trini set. In theory, those under the protection of the Vongala family are equivalent to being protected by time itself. The Bovino family's proud time weapon had turned into a terrifying murder weapon. According to their calculations, some unknown anomaly had occurred in this world. Lambo, did they give any other warnings? For the first time, Reborn questioned him about the future. Lambo puffed out his chest proudly, racking his brain to remember, cold sweat trickling down his forehead. They said, don't look directly, can't record, if you see it, you'll die. The most precious piece of information was still passed on, from the mouth of this 5-year-old child. Reborn nodded and jumped off the chair, I'll go contact Vongala. Sawada Tsunayoshi was completely confused, what is this? Other people laughed lightly, playfully teasing, not taking it seriously at all. Their lives, for the moment, would not intersect with such enemies in the space-time category, but their future enemies were not far from Yokohama City. In Suribachi town, the sheep king Nakahara Chuya had heard that some strangers had recently entered the area. He couldn't muster up the slightest bit of energy. Do you think holding 2 jobs is easy? Making money had already exhausted him. What's it got to do with me? Sheep king. Some people are looking for the strongest person around here. Oh. The strongest person was him, he was waiting to be worshipped. And also. The informant hesitated, looking at Nakahara Chuya with a changed expression. There's a new rumor from Suribachi Street, saying that Vongala Decimo is here, and that the strongest person is the heir to Italy's top-ranked mafia family. Nakahara Chuya stopped playing his game, looking up with an indescribable expression. Huh? What could the Italian mafia have to do with him? In GSS, after joining for a period of time, the new members managed fairly well. Every day, there was someone specifically guiding them on how to use both firearms and cold weapons, indirectly learning how to be self-sufficient. Shirase was shocked after hearing the rumors about Suribachi Street, impossible. Chuya has been searching for his origins for 5 or 6 years, even his name is one he chose himself. We've never heard anything about the Vongala family. The GSS member coldly replied, it had better be that way, otherwise they would be offending the next leader of the Vongala family. Yokohama's various powers had not yet fully stabilized when an external bomb was thrown into the waters, drawing the attention of all the upper echelons to this chaotic area of Suribachi Street. The mastermind furrowed his brow once again, sitting in the empty space of Yokohama's city room, and said displeased, Ken, Chikusa, there's no need to hide it anymore. Someone has already leaked our information about searching for Vongala Decimo. Jushima Ken growled viciously, Mukuro-sama, could it be that Futa? Rokudo Mukuro shook his head, he's been under my surveillance the entire time, with no opportunity to contact the outside world. The world isn't lacking in smart people, Mukuro-sama. If we do this, it will be easy for us to become someone else's pawns, Kakimoto Chikusa said rationally. Once things get out of hand, those protecting Vangala Decimo will definitely outnumber those who want him dead. We either strike quickly and decisively, or leave for a while. After some thought, Rokudo Mukuro replied, we can't wait any longer. They were escapees from Italy prison, and their movements couldn't stay hidden from the Vindice for long. He needed to obtain the body of Vangala Decimo. Either that or a sufficiently powerful contractor, to ensure our side's fighting strength could rival the Vindice. Or he could exploit Vangala Decimo's status, threaten the Vindice in prison, and if that proved useless, make an agreement with the Vangala family to force the Vindice to abandon their pursuit. Ken, bring Futa here. After making up his mind, Rokudo Mukuro suppressed the disgust of being schemed against and spoke. The most powerful youth in Yokohama. A new contractor. And possibly, the one who is Vangala Decimo. Futa was utterly broken inside as he ranked for Rokudo Mukuro. He had no way to offer any excuses or explanations for the issues with his abilities, and Rokudo Mukuro didn't believe the truth coming from his mouth. Tsunami is in Namimori town. Reborn is waiting for you in Namimori town. It's over. The Vangala's plan had been disrupted by his own actions. How would he explain this to Reborn when he returned? The strongest youth in Yokohama, Futa, unable to cry, used his ranking ability, painfully deciding to help Rokudo Mukuro this time. Afterward, he would shut himself off, waiting for Reborn to send someone to rescue him. Go ahead and make a scene. That way, the Vangala family will be able to find you, Rokudo Mukuro. Third place is Nakajima Etsushi. Second place is Yakimaru. First place is Nakahara Chuya. The Sheep King has once again made it onto the rankings. Inside the armed detective agency, Edogawa Ranpo, who wasn't on a business trip, rested his chin in his hand, a small bubble of sleep forming by his nose. With a sudden bang, the sound of the door being pushed open startled him awake. Kunikita Dalpo came here every day after school to prepare for the president's training. He had just put down his shoulder bag and hadn't gone to the president's office to find Fukuzawa Yukichi when he was stopped by the bewildered Edogawa Ranpo, who asked, Kunikita, do you consider me a youth? Kunikita Dalpo replied straightforwardly, yes, Ranpo-san, you're 18, one becomes an adult at 20. Edogawa Ranpo was initially excited, but then he became dejected. No one could understand his thought process, they could only see him grabbing snacks to fill his stomach, muttering, if there's a ranking, it should be based on ability, right? What does physical strength count for? In terms of ability, the greatest detective must be first. Chapter 23 End.